When it was developed, the AIM-9 Sidewinder air-to-air missile was the most advanced air-to-air missile in the world. As a matter of fact, it was at the time the only heat-seeking missile in the world, and in 1958 we handed a fully intact one to the Soviets, mostly by accident. In 1958, mainland China was once again attempting to exert military control over the islands of Taiwan, and in response, one of the many things that the United States sent was a whole bunch of F-86 Sabre fighter jets. In order to help counter this, the Soviets supplied China with MiG-15s and MiG-17s, which have higher operational ceilings, meaning that the Sabres simply could not reach them. In order to counter this, the United States decided to equip these F-86 Sabres with the then top-secret AIM-9 Sidewinder air-to-air heat-seeking missile. In one of the first engagements in which the missile was used in combat, 6 of them were fired, 4 of them scored hits, and 3 of them scored kills. It was that 4th one, which scored a hit but not a kill, that ended up causing the problem. The missile struck the fuselage of a MiG-17, embedded itself in the side, and then stayed there. Once the MiG-17 returned home, the Chinese took the missile apart, took a whole bunch of photos, and then sent the entire missile to the Soviets, and within 3 years they had their own clone of the AIM-9 Sidewinder. Several years later, the Sidewinder saw a series of updates. It was given a better gyroscope along with semi-active radar homing, which would make it more resilient against countermeasures and could also allow the missile to lock on without having to be fired from behind the target vehicle. Problem was, as soon as we updated ours, the Soviets updated theirs in exactly the same way. The first person looked at was a suspected Norwegian spy who'd been working as a political attaché in Washington, and there was a counterintelligence operation performed which involved suborning his maid. She went into his attic, found a whole bunch of rolls of film, and when they were developed, they found all kinds of secret documents. And when confronted with the evidence, this Norwegian spy confessed, but there was no evidence or confession specifically regarding the Sidewinder missile. It turns out what had actually happened was a Polish spy who'd begun working with the KGB during World War II, had been tasked with stealing an F-4 Phantom. He decided, fuck that, and instead decided to steal a Sidewinder. The story involves him putting it in a wheelbarrow, walking it down the runway in the middle of a foggy night, wrapping it in a carpet, and placing it in the back of his car. As a matter of fact, it was too long. He had to break out the back window and tie a little red flag to the tip of the missile so that he wouldn't get pulled over driving with it. But yeah, the United States has a long and storied history of being shot at with our own weapons, and for some reason we seem to really enjoy doing it with heat seekers. A piece of information I couldn't fit in organically is that when they developed the heat seeker head for the Sidewinder, they'd actually originally set out to make a heat-sensitive proximity fuse. I thought that was pretty cool.